In 2008, it was a very difficult decision, but I voted for McCain in the end. I felt that McCain best represented my views about the world and that he best represented my views on foreign policy. I have a strong view of foreign policy, and I thought that McCain would be the best person to represent that.
I supported John McCain, and I say that because John McCain, not only is he a true American hero, John McCain has had the gonads to stand up against his own party. And I think that says a lot about a person. And let's remember, in 2000, the GOP was not in full support of John McCain. And then all of a sudden, 8 years later, he's our front runner. So I think that says a lot about his character. Not taking anything away from now President Obama. I'm happy that the country moved forward in electing our first African American president.
Well, I voted for John McCain without question. Although I do like Barack Obama, he's a very likable person, but there's a difference between voting for someone you would like to sit down and have coffee with and voting for someone that you believe can point the country in the right direction.
I had literally been waiting at least 8 years to cast my vote for John McCain. So when he got it, there was no contest, even with the historical contest that was taking place on the Democratic side.
I really, really wanted to vote either for Fred Thompson or Mike Huckabee. Those were the men I really wanted to vote for. And I didn't get excited about John McCain until he gave us Sarah Palin. And I'd been following Sarah Palin for a while beforehand. I was one of the people online in, these small groups saying, Sarah Palin, she's the person he should pick. He should really, really go with Sarah Palin.
I don't think I've ever agonized as much and as long as I did during this most recent election. And I told folks, because folks are like, you won't vote for Obama? Come on, of all the people. And I'm like, listen, if this was about race, I'd vote for him in a heartbeat. If this was about progression and change, I'd vote for him in a heartbeat. However, his method of going, I couldn't. And it hurt me so much to be able to do it. To not be able to vote for him. It was, I went to, here in New Brunswick, we had a big gala and for the inauguration, and it really was tough. I mean, it's emotional for me now to understand how important it is. And I want him to succeed. I want him to do the best bang-up job he can. But at the same time, doesn't mean I'm not going to let up on what I believe is the best for our country and what's the best for my community. And I think that is the best way to honor what he has accomplished, not to just sit back and think that, we got a black person in the White House, isn't that cool? It's like, no, he got there because he's got some skills and some ideas that he really believes in. Let's really respect and honor him by challenging them.
When I try to tell people why I'm Republican and why I believe in certain things that may not be the norm, I think you have to put it in the way that people can understand it. And I think that's what differs with the GOP, is that they have not been successful at doing that. When you talk to someone about keeping their check, keeping the federal government out of their business, and having a system that gives them equal opportunity, then I think people tend to understand what it means to really be not just a black Republican, but a Republican. And I think that's how that has to be the message moving forward with Urban America.
Well, a common reaction is, why are you a Republican? And I'll ask, well, why do you ask that? Like, because you're black. Number one, and let me be perfectly frank, that is racist. That is racist. Just as it is racist to vote for someone because they're black, just like me, it's racist. Because we're judging people based on how they look, saying, this is how they should think, this is what they should do, this is who they should be, this is how they should act.
I am more surprised by all people. I don't think that race should have so much to do with who a person votes for. It should be about the issues. This comes from both blacks and whites and whoever. They're really surprised that I am Republican, that I voted for John McCain. Why can't people just vote for who they identify with on policies, and that's it.
I think it's reflective of the hostility and the idea that when you're black or you're Latino, everybody has to vote together, and that everybody is somehow obligated to support the candidates that every other person in Black America supports. I feel no such compunction. I have walked with that bag throughout the campaign. I had that John McCain for President button very prominently displayed on my bag, and I carry it with me pretty much everywhere I go. I've been stopped a couple of times by people saying, hey, what's up with that? And I say, it's pretty self-explanatory. Nothing else is need to be said. And I don't feel an obligation to justify what I believe to anybody else because they happen to think that it doesn't fit with what they think I should be thinking or think of how I should be voting.
And frankly, like I said, I don't think most Black Republicans are necessarily out there to be liked. If you want to be liked, you get a dog. If you want to be respected, you fight for the things that you believe within the circles of influence that you have. Again, when people say, why are you Republican? I answer their question, but I find that they're usually not very satisfied no matter what the answer is.
I happen to be in a master's program called the National Urban Fellows, and the education portion happens in New York City at Baruch College. And the professors obviously were all very liberal. We're bashing Reagan, bashing Nixon, bashing George Bush, and I'm just sitting there not saying anything. My leg is like shaking, whatnot. And at some point, I guess it hit some of the professor like, oh, I hope there aren't any Republicans are there. And I'm telling you, my hand shot up like a rocket, and there was like this dead quiet silence. And it was okay, I'm just like, whatever. And for the rest of the class, just the semester, every opportunity they could to take pot shots. They take pot shots. I'm like, whatever, it doesn't matter. But the funny thing is that people would like get me in a corner and tell me, I'm registered Democrat, but sometimes I'll vote on an issue and I'll vote conservative, or my husband's a conservative. So it became like a confessional at some point that folks felt like, I can tell you. It's like, it's all right. Say it. You shouldn't be embarrassed about it at all.